Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to some more World of Warships, and today we are taking a look at the Z-46, the Tier 9 German destroyer, and I have to say I really do like the ship. Few battles I've had, I've enjoyed her weapons. Her guns feel actually a little bit more responsive. They feel like they're actually going straight to target. The AP is fairly decent. Torpedoes are fairly decent. They're very, very similar to the Z-23 in a lot of ways. But let's take a look at the teams. We are playing on Atlantic, and you might see something slightly funny with this matchup. We have two Iowas, a Bismarck, a Gneisenau, a Bayern, failed division there. Two Otagos, Miyoko, Z-46, a Benson, Harakaze, and a Leningrad. On the enemy team, there is a Iowa, Fitted-Grosse, Bismarck, Gneisenau, New Orleans, Megami, Otago, Algeria, Miyoko, Tashkent, Harakaze, and Atsuki. Now, I obviously spawned on the kind of middle of the road, so I decided to push over towards B. Now, the detection on the Z-46 is actually pretty decent. It's actually very similar in a lot of ways to the other Tier 9s. It's 5.9, so technically you can spot a Tier 10 destroyer at the exact same time that they will spot you. So you do have that benefit of very low detectability compared to the Z-23's 6.2. So you do have a slightly better detectability compared to it. So that is a really good thing. And the Z-46, as you will obviously see here in just a moment, has obviously the German Hydro and obviously the German Smoke. Hydro is actually a little bit better than the Z-23. It's still not the strong, overpowered German Hydro. It has a detectability range of 4.68 kilometers, and here we're actually able to get a few shots off at this Tashkent. Unfortunately, it does pull away, and now, unfortunately, the smoke screen is essentially useless. But the Tashkent has laid his own smoke and is now pulling away. The torpedoes are, like I said, exactly similar to the Z-23. You still have 8 torpedoes, and now we have a enemy Megami pushing in as well. Let's see if we can kind of draw him to the smoke screen. It looks like he is heading this way. He is turning in, and our team we're doing a good job. AP against a broadside cruiser is pretty decent. It is obviously the German AP, and there we go. 2 torpedo hits on the Tashkent, 2 more on the Megami, and we have our very first kill of the game. Oh, good, 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 good. Now, the torpedoes don't hit particularly hard. They are semi-weak compared to some of the other Tier 9 destroyers. The only good benefit of them is the fact that they reload very, very quickly. Now, let's see. This Megami was still around in the smoke screen, and I am being extremely brave. Oh, look at that. 816 points left on his health, and I would really, really love to get this kill, and it looks like everyone else is starting to shoot at him. Like, nope, 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 this is mine. This is mine. I want this kill. I deserve this kill. Let's get around the corner here, and AP away. There we go. Second kill of the game. And now I am in a bit of a pickle. I have no smoke. Smoke is on cooldown. The cooldown for the smoke is a very long time for the German destroyers, and obviously there's an Otago right there. There's a Bismarck coming around the corner as well, and torpedoes are up. At least we can drop those, but probably maybe I should have been firing HE. Actually, I don't think I've tried the HE that much. Been trying the AP a little bit more. The AP seems to be doing a decent job. But yeah, this is where the battle gets a little bit interesting. Enemy Bismarck 4.2 kilometers away. Otago is now switching his attention. We also have a Gneisenau. There's also an Iowa. Probably should go ahead and point out there's also an Iowa. Yeah, this is not good. Torpedoes are reloading, so I can't drop them on the Bismarck. I dropped them towards the Otago. And I believe it's actually was the what is it? The ARP ship, not the actual Otago. I don't think it's actually a premium. And here I make a slight mistake. Oh, trying to get around this corner. I kind of want to keep the distance between me and this Bismarck because Bismarck could have hydro. And really don't want to chance the opportunity of being dropped on. Was hoping to get torpedoes on this Gneiss now, but I have bigger problems, such as this Iowa. Iowa is definitely getting closer, and it looks like he's starting to turn in, and crap, was not paying attention. Oh, this is not a good place to be. This battle, I will have to say, I really have no idea how I survived this. No idea. No idea at all. AP, and oh, look at that. Big hit from the Iowa, leaving us very, very low on health. Only 2,000. It looks like he's hoping to get his third turret around so he can probably finish me off. Torpedoes are headed his direction, so that might scare him into turning in. Looks like we might land 2, maybe 1. Yep, there we go. We got 1. Caused the flooding. And, oh, good lord. Now we have secondaries coming in, and we are only sitting at 1,157 points of health. Now our team's doing a pretty decent job. The enemy team, for whatever reason, all decided to push towards C, with few stragglers heading towards A. Now, good thing the Z-46 with that low detectability, we're able to get away, and this Iowa is now behind an island. We don't have to worry about it. But we do have almost 4 of our battleships, including that Bayern, that all-powerful Bayern that can punch up its weight to tier 9, apparently, is starting to push in from A, and they are taking their sweet time. We do have... most of our destroyers are over at C. The enemy team has lost the majority of their destroyers, if not all. Actually, all, as I can look there. But they are still pushing towards C, and I really don't understand it. Friendly Iowa does take out the Algerie. That's 1 less ship. And, well, you can probably guess the enemy team's not really cooperating with each other and not playing for the objectives, as we do hold 2 of the caps to their 1. So things are looking pretty well. Trying to keep my distance. Don't know where that Iowa went. Obviously, he's the closest ship. I will have to say, I kind of want to get RDF for the ship. I think it would prove beneficial for it. But at the moment, I have yet to decide on whether or not I can... actually get it. I don't know if I have enough points to get it, but if I want it, that's the real question on the Z-46. The Z-46, its speed is decent. It's around 37 knots. Once again, very, very similar to the Z-23 in a lot of ways. But I feel like the guns are probably its one of its best assets. I feel like the guns are definitely a little bit better than what the Z-23 I was pushing in. Do drop torpedoes kind of in this narrow channel. We'll see if we'll get some hits. Now it looks like the Iowa's pushing in towards C. Once again, don't really understand why they are all pushing in towards C. They already hold it fairly well. There's only a Leningrad who is currently sitting out there with the Iowa kind of back to having his side on the side of the island. So yeah, don't really understand why they're continually pushing in there. Maybe they're wanting to turn around. Who knows? AP against Iowa, we get a few hits, not too bad. And torpedoes miss the Iowa, but we actually land 2 on the Gneiss now, cause some flooding. But it looks like he probably does have damage control. And I'm gonna go ahead and start maneuvering away from my smoke screen. Do in fact keep in mind, whenever you are playing German destroyers, their smoke screens are quite terrible. They do not last very, very long. So if anything, I would have to say the smoke screen is a great tool to break away and maneuver into a different position. Our torpedoes are probably her best asset, more than the guns. I will have to say she kind of feels like a Japanese destroyer, using the torpedoes as her main weapons. But once again, it feels like the German destroyers sit closer to the Japanese destroyers than, say, the USN or obviously the Russian. So that's kind of how it feels. So torpedoes are in. Harikaze waited to the last moment. And who is going to get this kill? Our torpedoes look decent, but he is coming in at an angle. He also has the Harikazes, and Harikaze does get the kill, but we do get a few torpedo hits on him. And fortunately for us, we do lose the Harikaze. But the enemy team is just going to slowly get whittled down, and we're going to try to get back around. We do have a friendly Iowa that is all the way up north against a Tago, a Filoglossa, a Bismarck, and a Gneisenau. So this is probably a good example of what not to do. If obviously you have a fairly good control on a cap point, don't all go towards this cap point, because, well, I mean, look what's happening to the enemy team. They're getting picked away. They are losing on points. We have almost a 400 point advantage over them, actually almost 500 now. So don't do this. I've said this so many times. Really don't do this. Because it will end in a loss, a defeat for your team. So don't do this. Now, you might be wondering why I picked this replay. Well, unfortunately, I kind of ran out of time. This was actually my highest damaging game so far. I think it was a good example of what can you expect when you first get the Z-46. Once again, this is stock. And also due to the fact that I had some personal issues that did arise here recently, actually in the past couple days, and did not allow me a lot of time to actually play some games. Once again, this is probably one of the better games I've had, especially for damage, and they're asking me to go cap, but I want to kill. We're almost going to win here in just a moment. I was up against 3 German battleships. He's doing a fairly good job. I think they're whining for a ram, but the Iowa does go down to some flooding, so that's actually going to be almost it. New Orleans on the enemy team should go down in just a moment. I think the Iowa is going to take him out. So yeah, I mean, not a bad game. Damage wise, pretty decent. Had a devastating strike, got a couple kills, not too bad, but unfortunately, just due to the fact that personal issues arise, I just could not get a incredible game out like I did for the Moss that one time. But let's take a look at the victory screen and then on to port. So our team earned a victory. We brought 332,082 silver home, 3,682 XP, and earned a devastating strike. We did 101,706 points of damage. We are on top of the team with a base XP of 1,583. You can see that the destroyers did a really good job earning the XP. They obviously capped, but they also constantly harassed the enemy team. So destroyers obviously play a very big part in a game. So whenever you are playing a game, always focus them down. Damage wise, we did around 27,000 against the enemy Megami, 21,000 against the Tashkent, around 29,000 against the Iowa. So close to getting that kill, so close. We did around 17,000 against the Gneisenau, measly 6,500 against the Takao, and around 900 against that Bismarck when we were trying to run away. But as you can see, the torpedoes once again was our most damage dealing aspect for the ship, and that's why I really say that it kind of feels like the German destroyer does a really good job being a torpedo boat, better than a gunboat. But there are obviously some benefits of the German destroyer with her guns and against other destroyers. But we'll actually take a look at the stats here in the port, so I will see you guys there. Alright everyone, welcome back to the port with the Z-46, and once again I do have to say I am starting to like the Z-46, the German destroyers, a little bit better. Still don't think they're the highest quality, but they're decent, especially with these higher tiers are fairly decent. But let's go ahead and take a look at the stats of the stock Z-46. Survivability, you have 16,200. Once fully upgraded, you actually will have the most of the health pool without any captain seals and whatnot. Armor is 20 millimeters at the strongest that you do have, which I'm actually kind of curious where that is. Is that down here? Actually kind of curious where that 20 millimeters is. But armor is, well, it's just German destroyer armor. So, but AP seems to really do a significant amount of damage. As you can see, she's kind of a fat ship, especially if we compare it to the Fletcher, which is extremely nice and thin. So the Z-46 does kind of have that bulk to her. And it feels like AP does significant amount of damage to you whenever you get shot by a battleship, period. Moving on to the guns, you have 3 dual 128 millimeters. They have a 3.6 second reload time, 8.8 second turn time on the guns. Max HE damage is 1500 with a max AP damage of 3000, which is really super nice. Don't quite know how often you'll actually get any citadels. That's a very, very good question. But against any other destroyers, your AP does really good damage. Good job damaging them. Alright, I'm going to quickly cut in on my past self as I'm talking about the guns. Now the guns, they're actually really freaking good. As you will see an example of this against this Grosse, the AP on the German destroyers, especially the Z-46 and the Z-52, I'm assuming is probably going to be almost the same way. So broadside targets, especially against such as is Grosse, as we open up, and this is going to be a little sped up just so we're not sitting here watching it, but just watch this damage rack up. Usually getting around maybe 2k salvo, and this is probably also keep in mind that whenever you are facing a ship that's a little bit further out, you get more of a plunging fire. Now, and I believe it really comes down to how much of a distance you have between your target will depend on how well the AP will penetrate. As you can see, there is a Colorado. We'll see this Colorado in just a moment, but there is a Ismo, and he is taking a significant amount of damage here. But as you can see, AP salvo is gonna pretty much end him off, but it's probably really going to be more accurate whenever you're facing against a broadside target such as this Colorado as we're coming around the corner. The range is around 7 kilometers, so we're definitely a lot closer, which means that the shells are coming in more at a flat trajectory than prior. As you can see, they're around 4k, and yes, I am aware it is a Colorado. It's a lower tier, has less armor, but still, damage wise, that's pretty good. So I really am liking the guns, so I'm gonna go ahead and pass it off to my past self. Now the fire chance on the HE shells is 8%. So it's all right. It's actually about middle of the road. I believe the Fletcher, with all the flags and whatnot, has 7%, so it does have a better fire chance than the Fletcher. Doesn't have the same reload speed compared to the Fletcher with 3.9, but I don't have a particular module that could increase the reload speed. I haven't decided on that yet. I'll talk about it a little bit more later. Range at stock is 10 kilometers. The velocity on the shells is 830 meters per second. Fairly decently on the velocity. They go to target fairly straight, but obviously nothing compared to, say, the Russian destroyers. Torpedoes, you have 2 quads, 533 millimeters. They have a reload time of 90 seconds. Max damage is 14,400, almost exactly the same as the Z-23. Does have a 9.5 kilometer range, and the torpedoes go at 66 knots. So torpedoes really haven't changed that much from the Z-23. Essentially, you are running the Z-23 torpedoes, but you can upgrade them, and we'll talk about that in just a second. AA guns, it's all right. I don't think I've ever seen that many CVs when I was playing, so I can't say right off top of my head whether or not they're decent whenever facing against any aircrafts. You do have 4 dual 20 millimeters. Average damage is 20 with a 2-kilometer range. Then you do have 3 dual 37 millimeters. They have an average damage of 37 with a 3.5-kilometer range, and then your main guns offer additional AA support. Average damage is 54 with a 5-kilometer range. Maneuverability, she has a top speed of 37.5 knots. Turning circle radius is 670 meters, and rudder shift time is 6.3 seconds. Obviously, once you get the whole upgrade on the Z-46, the rudder shift time will go down just a little bit. She's not as nimble as the Fletcher, but she does have some decent speed. Detectability range by sea is 5.9 kilometers, and detectability range by air is 3.6. Once again, a huge negative thing is her detectability range by air is quite big. Definitely nothing compared to, say, the Fletchers at 3.3, so you do get spotted a little bit more easily by airplanes than the Fletcher did. And the Fletcher has defensive AA while you do not, so that is a huge negative thing. Now, when you are possibly upgrading, I probably will say torpedoes. These torpedoes, once you get upgraded, will go 1 knot faster, which is not bad. Makes them a little bit faster, more likely to hit. They also will increase by 500 meters, so the total range is going to be 10 kilometers. The whole upgrade just increases your health. It gives you additional AA, improves your AA at least, and reduces your rudder shift time. And then obviously the range increases your range. Then we come down to the module. Now this one, once again, I have yet to really decide on what I want to go for. You can technically do 3, but 2 right off top of my head is probably going to be either main battery modification 3, which reduces the reload time on your main guns by 12%, makes them fire a little bit faster, or you can go for the reduction on reload time on your torpedoes by 15%. And once again, your torpedoes reload at 90 seconds. So that will reduce it down to around 78 seconds, something like that. So it makes them that much quicker to reload. And the German destroyer torpedoes reload a lot quicker than, say, any of the others. So for the Fletcher, it has a reload time of 106 seconds. And once again, the reload time on the Z-46 is 90 seconds. But the Fletcher does have better torpedoes than the Z-46 with a max damage of 19,000 and going at 66 knots. So torpedoes are somewhat lackluster, and that's where I'm kind of really debating on what I want to go for the Z-46. Captain wise obviously has not changed. I do have the potential of getting 3 more points, so once again I could go for RDF, which allows me to detect any potential ships around me, or I can go for the increased reload rate on my torpedoes, or I can go for survivability expert. So it's going to be a little bit of a choice between some of these skills. I could go for adrenaline rush, which increases the reload rate of your guns and your torpedoes, so that's actually pretty nice, so that might be beneficial as well. But anyways, this is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you liked what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zaijian.